From the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. And God said to Lucifer, the fallen angel, O Lucifer, son of the dawn, you have been cast down to earth, banished from my kingdom. To which Lucifer replied, One day I will ascend to heaven. One day I will raise my throne above the stars of God. One day I will be like the Most High. That day, Lucifer's day, has come. 5 centuries ago, we received our first sign. The astronomical clock was built. Its purpose, to announce to the world the date of Lucifer's return. The clockmaker tried to destroy his work, asking for God's protection from the wrath of Satan. But in the end, God was no match for Satan. The clock came to life. The countdown began. Then, 2 decades ago, our second sign. It was foretold in the scriptures that science will allow man to turn against his God the day that man has the knowledge to recreate himself.
You have selected TV news footage, November 1978.
In Cambridge today, university officials hope to end months of protest when funding was cut for the controversial Human Blanks Project. Genetics professor Michael Benedetti, whose research spawned the first genetically created lab mouse, hopes to develop the technology for genetically created human beings. This human creation issue angered religious leaders who felt that Benedetti's experiments amounted to playing God.
These experiments are an abomination, clearly interfering with God's work.
In an ironic twist, it was a local church group who agreed to fund Benedetti's research. The order's leader is Father Simeon, who was excommunicated from the Catholic Church several years ago for his radical beliefs on the Antichrist.
I've been in contact with the church group, an ancient Etruscan order, but very progressive in their scientific beliefs.
Our mission now is to find 18 beautiful angels, as foretold in the scriptures, to present to Lucifer, and one of them will be chosen to continue his work on earth. Satan will no longer be beast, but beauty.
Nazi! Mozzarella! Nazi!
Gonna be late. Overslept.
We like you, it's your birthday!
Laura, you give me a test today.
Well, I'll drop you on my way. Besides, if they're anything like my students, I'll be only too happy to have you show up late. Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry I have to work tonight, but we'll celebrate on Saturday.
Nazi! Nazi!
So you can't interview this guy tomorrow?
Well, he's leaving the country, and so, but we're almost finished.
Who was he again?
An expert in my field.
Is it Mummy?
You should talk.
No, music is a living thing, Laura. You give life to it every time you play it.
Well, so is ancient civilization. Every time you dig into it. He's an expert on Etruscans.
Oh, sure. Snails.
No, those are crustaceans.
Where's the cat carrier? He's freaking out.
Right on the chair.
Lucy, what's with the cat?
He has a vet's appointment. He's too fat. He's gonna have a heart attack.
You shouldn't be feeding him so much cooked chicken, sweetheart.
Mom, don't forget the camera.
Got it.
The vet said to take before and after pictures.
What, the cat's modeling for cow can?
At least we'll have one model in this family.
One's enough.
You know, Catherine's dad's in advertising, and he said that if I worked really hard...
And so it was the sole purpose of the 15th, 16th, and 17th century composers to set God's word to music. Not a bad lyricist, I might add. Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Likewise, this was not an invention of 20th century television, but of Vivaldi, creating an underrhythm to counterpoint the mesmeric recitation of 17th century church Latin.
I have to get back home to decorate for Dad's surprise party before people start showing up.
I know, dear, but Father Simeon flew in from Italy just for the day, and I have to interview him before he returns tonight. I'll call you a cab in a minute.
All right, Mom.
Father?
Father Simeon, how are you? This is my daughter, Lucy.
Yes. An angel. Your mother, she tells me you want to be in a magazine. Is that your dream?
I guess so.
Well, I also told him that I'm discouraging that. Now, don't you get me in trouble here.
Your mother's very wise. And she also tells me that your father's birthday is coming soon. Is that right?
Yeah, it's today, actually.
And she would like to hurry home to decorate. So I told her that we might call her a cab from here.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
Father Simeon?
Surgery.
All right. Is your mom inside?
No, she's finishing an interview. You better hurry.
Where is she? Don't you even know where she is? Where is Mom? Where is Mom?
I'll be right back.
Dad! Why can't you let me see my own mother?
What do you say?
She's gone.
Tell me.
I'm sorry.
Mom!
She's
No.
dead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mom!
God, no.
Lucy, no.
No!
Hey. How you doing, man?
Nora's notes. I'm just trying to find some answers.
You know, we were thinking that you might want to get away for a while. Your boss here says he'll give you the time off, and I'm more than willing to take care of the house if you want.
I just wanted to say that, my mom saved this cat. He was trapped in a crate of mozzarella behind an Italian restaurant. We think he ate too much and couldn't get out. He loved her for that. Almost as much as I did. Almost as much as my dad. He might not know she's gone, but I know we'll all miss her. And I'll be glad to see her again someday. In heaven. And I don't know what all I know is she was happy.
Now, the exhibits in this wing represent some of the earliest forms of figurative art, dating back to the mid-6th century BC, therefore making them almost 2,600 years old, younger than some of your parents. In this other section, you can see a large selection of household utensils.
Stay together, girls, and no talking, huh?
You stand there and pose for some strange guy with a camera?
He wasn't strange. He was a real guy, like a professional.
So what if he was? You don't know what he'll do with the pictures. Why would you do something like that?
Because it felt good. I felt good. Is that such a bad thing?
You know how your mother felt about it.
Yeah, well, Mom's gone, Dad.
So that makes it okay? Lucy, you're a smart girl. If you need more time off school, just say so.
Who cares?
Why? All of a sudden you don't...
Because I hate it. That's why.
Send this one.
Christ.
The child of grace. Would thy kingdom come if Satan could Christ's beauty so replace? Would thy will be done if Satan had, like Christ,
a holy face?
So what else did she say?
Well, I couldn't get through to her. The last thing she said to me was, I hate my life.
She said that? I hate my life?
Yes, she did.
Look, she wants to try to model. There are worse things. I think you ought to let her try it. Have you been approached or what?
Yeah, I got a call, but I couldn't do that to Nora. She found it corrupting.
I understand, but look, that kid's face stands out in a crowd, right?
Yeah.
If she's going to be objectified for being beautiful, she might as well get paid for it. And you never know. She might want to kick back something to her, godfather.
And there it is. There's that advice I was looking for. Thanks, pal.
Look, do you want my 2 cents, really? What would make Lucy happy?
Hi.
Hi.
You feel okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. You want to get some dinner?
I'm not hungry.
What is this?
Came today. Express. Do you like it?
Where's it from?
Florian Favino is a genius, and this kind of discovery is his trademark. Kathy in a mosque in Somalia. Annabelle in a soup kitchen in France. Look, he discovers them in odd places, but they're all making up to $10,000 a day on the runways of Paris and Milano.
So, what's in it for you?
20%. In exchange, we cover 3 months training with Florian and his wife in Italy.
We provide you with first-class tickets to visit her once a month.
Wait a minute. Visitor? You gotta be kidding. Did you think I'd let you take her alone?
I know it's a nervous idea, but if you like, you can check with the parents of Kathy, Nina, and Simone.
It's a very generous offer. I'm sorry, I'm just very uncomfortable with being separated from my daughter right now. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Thought I'd find you here. How'd you like to play that on the world's oldest church organ? La Chiesa di Santa Maria in Rome. They're renovating and want someone to document their music archives. They sent this inquiry to the department and requested you by name. You're more famous than I knew. Read the part about how these works have been sealed since the 16th century. Luce?
Whoa. What's the matter? What's wrong?
It's Monty. They called from the vet. He is sick. I want to put him to sleep.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry.
Why does everything get taken away?
I'll always be here for you. Lucy, you got your whole life ahead of you.
I don't see the point anymore.
Lucy!
Are you awake?
Now, I think I should be doing more stuff like this. You know, it's really sweet, not really, like, sexy. Because if you're just sweet, you can be in your underwear and it's not sexy. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's like Victoria's Secret, not a dirty magazine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Breakfast?
Mangiare. Si. Do you have anything like, boiled polo without salt or anything?
Did you order a special?
No.
I'll go see.
Boiled chicken? It's in honor of Matzi. I stopped by the vet's and told him that was his favorite dish. Did you get a chance to say goodbye before he left?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll take good care of him, honey.
I didn't think so.
No chicken. Maybe fish?
Si.
Lucy? The cat has no papers. They'll slap him straight into quarantine. Let's stay calm, stare straight ahead. No eye contact.
Buongiorno, signorina. Miau.
Lucia! Bella, eh? Che faccia, eh? Hi, this is my wife, Gabriella.
It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Faccia d'angelo.
Sì. She says she's angelic. Valle d'Ombroso, Lucia.
Wow.
Over that ridge, our villa, and down below, the guest house you'll be staying in.
That church.
La chiesa dei 18 angeli.
18. 8?
18. Your pet will have company. The friars have many cats.
The abbey cats. They hunt mice in the underground caves.
Beautiful, isn't it, Luce?
The iron on these hills attracts lightning. It's the iron mines that built the Etruscan civilization.
Etruscans. My wife was studying them.
You said you wanted to speak with me. Yes, Dr. Benedetti. You have been on this project now for quite some time. I'm afraid your work is concluded.
I don't understand. I thought we shared an interest in this research.
We will arrange for your return to the States.
What's going on here?
This is all for a higher purpose than you could possibly understand.
Motzi? 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 Have you seen a cat around?
A cat?
Gatto?
Gatto. Ci sono dappertutto.
No, my cat. He's gray, really fat. Could you look for him?
Vieni. Yes. Come on. Vieni.
Lucy! Hello? Scusi.
Mr. Stanton? I'm Maria Elena.
Maria Elena. Who's the guy with the horse?
Damiano.
Who's Damiano?
He's in charge of the animals.
Well, what the hell does he think he's doing?
Do not worry. He has great control of them. Sometimes I think he is one of them.
Look, my daughter is out there with him in nothing but a nightgown, and...
They will be back soon. Come and have breakfast. May I do anything else for you?
I think I should call the police.
We have no polizia in Poggio. I think there is a guard at the bank with a gun. But you wouldn't want to shoot Damiano.
No, I'd like to kill Damiano.
Now is your chance.
Thanks. We saw him, but he got away.
What the hell are you doing?
Looking for Motzi. Daddy had this disgusting mouse in his mouth. Like
Look,
he wouldn't...
I don't want to talk about Motzi. He's not even supposed to be here. I don't want you riding around the countryside with some stable boy, half naked, that you don't even know.
Dad, you don't understand. He
There's
put
no
the
excuse for
phone
that.
right
You know better. Now go get dressed. I don't need advice from you.
You may be wrong about that. Yes.
I apologize for my anger. I don't usually... Oh, God, I'm sorry. He's...
My son. He was hit by a car. They found him on the road near the cemetery. Now each day I go to his grave. I look for answers.
He was beautiful. Do you have another child?
Yes. And I would do anything for him. Listen. My problems are of no importance to you.
Well, again, I'm sorry. Moxie! Moxie, drop it! Drop it!
Monty!
It's dead.
What is it? It's not even a mouse. Doesn't have the right face.
Taking you to work.
All right.
Perhaps today you'll use the phone.
Florian, Gabriella.
This is the young man I told you about who studies Etruscan. Massimo Pena, Mr. Stanton.
Hi. And you are the American scholar I heard was in town.
Yes.
He's a scholar himself.
Oh, just a seminary student, actually. Not in your class. But I am a fellow traveler. My studies are in Rome.
Luce, you gonna be all right, honey?
Oh, she'll be fine, Papa. She's starting her job today, like a grown-up.
Really, I'll be fine. This is what we came here for, remember?
She'll never be out of my sight, don't worry.
Good. Have fun.
Bye.
There you are.
So you are interested in Etruscans?
Well, my wife was, yes.
Oh, well, this is the place. Like the church above your valley. Was once Etruscan.
Well, that's called, Il Diciotto.
Oh, very good. La Chiesa dei 18 Angeli, the Church of the 18 Angels. A very strict monastery now. The rector allows no visitors.
Massimo, Signor Stanton's not interested. You know he's an expert, because he'll talk your head off.
Because it is interesting. This church, for instance, is named for the Etruscan legend that the return of the devil will follow the appearance of 18 angels.
You're earnest, Massimo, but very gullible.
Todd, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Listen, I've got the number where we're staying.
Oh, you're there now?
No, I'm here at the church.
You're kidding. You're working already? So how's it going?
Well, in a word, it's, strange.
Strange? What do you mean strange, man?
You're in Rome. Come on. La Dolce Vita.
What do you mean strange?
Well, you name it. You know, the house we're staying, the people, the whole setup.
Yeah? How's Lucy doing?
Well, she's upset at me right now.
So when do you think my cat will come back?
When he's hungry.
He's sick. He needs medicine. My dad knew that. It's just not like him to go hitting him like that.
He misses your mother. It's naturale.
That really tickles.
We need your ears, too.
Why is the cat's there?
No, it was. But it brought in a mouse. Some mutant-looking thing, god-awful face. You know, I don't know, like something that Professor in the news a while back.
Benedetti.
Right. Huge ears, tiny little eyes, and fangs for teeth.
Well, you know, like the man said, science does not have a pretty face, right?
My mom and I once had these facials. You killed yourself, you know?
No.
So you can't go to heaven if you kill yourself.
You will go to heaven. I guarantee you that.
Who knows? Maybe I'll kill myself someday.
No, you will not.
You know, that's possibly where he ended up, because I know he got some Italians to sponsor his work after his funding got cut.
Italians?
Well, listen, give me a fax
Number, and I'll send you what I can, okay? So tell me, how's Lucy doing?
Did she start the modeling yet, or what?
Yeah, today.
Why are we doing this again?
The mask? To make you permanent, Bambina.
A child was just brought in. A dead child! I will not allow my work to become a part of this. Do you understand me?
You will not allow it? I told you before, it's for a higher purpose. It's the ultimate marriage between science and Satan. When man's knowledge allows him to recreate himself, therefore making God obsolete.
What are you talking about? My blanks are not recreations of life.
Satan cannot be born of man.
Science can only create the blanks. It can never instill the soul.
I can. You only need one soul. The soul of Lucifer. And a beautiful face for it.
This is wrong. This is evil. And I will not let you get away with this insanity. May God condemn you to hell.
You are interested in genetics? The papers?
No, these are faxes.
This is Simeon. Father Simeon.
You know this man?
See. Yes. Did I not mention him to you? The rector at the monastery above the valley. The one who will let no one in.
That's his church?
One of them. They also have a parish in England, I believe, and in America.
Boston. I found these.
You went through my bag?
When I was unpacking. Who is he?
It's the priest. We went that day.
Yeah, but who is he? What were you doing there?
Look, I don't know. She was interviewing him for some article. She wanted to take his picture. He wouldn't let her. I don't know.
Did he say anything to you?
He said I was beautiful or something.
I don't... What happened next?
I told you.
She got me a cab, and I went home.
Lucy. Luce. Listen. Look at me. I want us to go home.
We start my book soon.
You can model in Boston. Something's wrong here, sweetheart.
Nothing's wrong. The only thing wrong is that Motsy's gone, and you've been acting weird since we got here.
We'll look for him tomorrow.
I'm going to. Look, Damiano thinks they could be at the monastery because they feed them there.
No, Lucy, listen carefully. I'm sorry I struck the cat. I will look for him tomorrow. Find him or not, we're leaving. You must know him.
No.
The church on the hill, the monastery. You've never been there.
They allow no one in.
Look, this man, this priest, was the last person to see my wife before she killed herself, and now he's here, and we're here.
Then leave if you must. Just go. Look, I'm sorry about your wife.
Maria Elena, tell me.
Tomorrow I say goodbye to my son. Then I do make arrangements to leave.
If you know something.
Good night.
Motsy? Motsy? Motsy?
God creates man in his own image. Thus, Satan cannot be born of man, instead using man to create vessels of perfection. For his triumphal return to earth. See note. looking for Cat and parli inglese.
We have many cats. Which one do you seek?
No, my daughter's cat ran away. We're down at the farmhouse.
Ah, our American neighbors. Come.
È l'americano, la figlia ha perso il gatto.
Dobbiamo essere generosi e dargli uno dei nostri gatti.
He says we must be generous and give you one of our cats.
No, no thanks. No more pets. We're actually heading home.
Oh, what a shame.
That's why it's important I do this today. Is there someone in charge I can speak with? Someone to give me permission to look around?
Yes, of course. Padre, il signore qui abitava a Ledambroso, è il nostro vicino.
Hello, Father. Nice to meet you.
Grazie.
Il signore ritorna negli Stati Uniti.
Perché? Prima della Santa Pasqua?
He says it will be a pity for you to miss the pageant of Easter.
You do speak English?
Pochissimo. Sono senza speranza.
He's saying that he's hopeless.
But you had a conversation with my wife, Nora Stanton.
Ha conosciuto sua moglie, la signora Nora Stanton.
Sì, sì. La scrittrice. Ma non è mai tornato.
He's saying, yes, the writer. Is she with you? She never came back.
No. She's not with me anymore.
La moglie non sta più con lui.
Capisco. In America ci si divorzia facilmente.
What did he say?
In America divorce is too easy.
She ended her life. You were the last person to see her. Now, I want to speak to you, and I want to speak to you in English. Did my wife say anything to you to give you any indication?
E dice che la moglie si è suicidata. Le ha detto qualche cosa prima?
Io ho fatto solo delle domande, io ho dato delle risposte.
He's saying she only asked questions and he only gave answers.
Un'intervista. Interview.
Well, that's not true. He remarked how beautiful my daughter was. They had a conversation. And she does not speak Italian. He spoke in English.
Mi scusi.
No, excuse. Please, I need to speak to you about my wife. Please.
Great. This is great. Okay, your chin up to me more. Okay, Lucy. Like that.
Lucy! Lucy!
Where's Lucy?
Oh, maybe go with Mary Ellen.
I need your truck.
Sì.
Beautiful.
Pronto?
Sono Damiano.
Sì?
He's gone. It is time.
Grazie.
Sci-Fi.
Would thy kingdom come if Satan could Christ's beauty every place?
Lucy.
Would thy will be done if Satan had, like Christ, a holy face? A holy face. A holy face.
Help me, Daddy! Help me, Daddy! Help me, Daddy! Help me! Help me, Daddy! Help me!
Come on. Come on.
Lucia! Come in, have something to eat. We're going out on the horses to look for my cat. Will not like this. Come inside.
Tu non ti mischiare, non ti riguarda.
Oh. I forgot something. Hold this, please.
Okay.
Like this. Good, let's try.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đến với video nhé. Giới thiệu các bạn đây cây rau lang vườn này trồng xuyên canh xuyên cư. Cây rau lang đây là mình dòng để mình lấy rau thôi, mình không lấy củ. Rau luộc xào mẻ rất là ngon. Thời tiết Bắc Bộ đang mưa, các bạn nhìn nhé, hạt mưa rơi xuống này.
No! No! What? Oh, God, Lucy! We need a hospital! A hospital! No. Hurry! You let this happen.
God forgive me. Did she make the mask? The woman.
You knew about this. Your son has a mask.
you'll do by the time they are buried. To hide them they have no faces. Let me help. I will take you.
He said what?
Brain dead. She was caught in a rope around her neck. Sever the cortex.
What?
Okay, where are you now?
A town called Viterbo. They have a kind of a emergency room.
Is she breathing on her own?
Yes.
Well, then she did not sever the cortex. Who told you that?
The doctors.
Well, they don't know shit. Give me the number there, and I'm gonna call them back. And don't tell me anything about brain dead. Do they even have the kind of equipment they need to monitor that there?
I don't know.
Okay, here's what you have to do. You have to get her to another hospital. Outside of Rome, in Rome, I don't know. Can you get her out of there?
There was a woman, but...
Okay, find someone. Find someone you trust. I'm going to my office, and I'm going to hook you up with the doctor in Italy. All right?
Right.
Grave, sono molto preoccupato.
Who are you? I'm Dr. Rinieri, a specialist in spinal injury.
Oh, we don't need you, doctor. I'm taking her out of here. Our doctor in the States is arranging the whole thing. Please, I need you to contact Pena, Massimo Pena, in Valle d'Ambroso. Tell him what's happened and ask him to please come here now. Please.
But, Signore, there is nothing that can be done.
We'll see about that.
I deal often with patients in her condition for organ transplants. I was going to suggest we move her for that purpose.
Wait a second. You listen to me. This child is not brain dead till I hear from someone who knows. She's leaving here, and she's leaving here in one piece.
As you wish.
Yes, well, then beep him then. Okay, do you understand? It's an emergency. I need to speak to him right away and have him call me at that number that I gave to you. Do you understand? Yes, in the United States.
There is a call for you, signore. They say for America.
Would you stay with her, please?
Sì.
I'm the hospital chaplain.
Yeah, well.
Your assistant told me what happened.
Now's not the greatest time, Father, okay?
Very well.
Wait, Father? I'm sorry. I apologize. I guess I'm not the right guy for this, you know? I always thought religion was a little paganistic.
Were you able to reach Senor Pena?
Si, he's coming.
Thank you.
Hello, Todd. Hello? There's no one on the line. Nurse! Nurse, where is she?
They took her. They said you go with her.
Who said that? Take her where?
Your doctor.
Oh, my God.
Is she all right? They called.
Are you one of them?
Them?
Lucy's gone. They've taken her.
What can I do for you?
Take me to the monastery.
The monastery?
Yes, just take me there.
Do not do this. We call the police.
Oh mio Dio. Lucy.
This is not possible. Signore, I must leave here. I cannot stay.
No. Wait, please. You said they believe the devil follows the appearance of 18 angels.
Yes.
There are 17 children here.
I'm sorry. I cannot stay. Forgive me. I will send help.
You... Do you know what's happening here? My daughter's been taken, like the rest. Where is my daughter? Where is she?
Signor Stanton. Diciotto, the cumulative number of the beasts to form the Holy Circle.
What have you done with her? What have you done with her?
Glorified her. From the very first time I saw her, I knew she would be the last to complete the circle from which one will be chosen.
This is insane. This is madness.
It is not madness. It is prophecy between science and Satan, designed to separate man from his God at the exact hour designated by Etruscan scripture.
No, wait! Is she alive? Tell me where she is!
She's achieving perfection, like the others who lie in readiness, unaware that the best will be chosen, rising like Christ did on that glorious day. No longer beast, but beauty.
Don't do this! She's my child. My flesh and blood.
Then let it spill like Christ did for the ages. Brothers, for thousands of years we have waited for this moment, and now, according to the Etruscan calendar, the day has come. The day of the 18 angels. From the beginning, Lucifer, the fallen angel, wanted a perfect world, and God created an imperfect world. A world full of hate, war, and blood. Never was there a bloodier time in history than Christianity. That's why we chose Lucifer, the Light One, as our God. Man's science has created the human possibilities to make this a better world. All we need is beauty and innocence. And we have found both.
Pape Satan Alep. Arma cano.
God is dead. Let's resurrect Lucifer.
I'm sorry. We lost her.
Can I see her? Lucy? Lucy?
I need a doctor here! Doctor, please! Doctor! I need a doctor!
Cannot believe it.
Come on. It's me, honey. It's me. Mildred. Lucy. We made it, honey. We made it. You're back. No one's ever gonna harm you again. Ever. I won't let them. Tell me you're okay, honey. You're all right, aren't you, honey?
Yes, Daddy. I'm fine.
But if you take some risk, the world is teetering on a knife's edge. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and the Middle East could ignite into a firestorm the world hasn't seen in decades. But tonight, we don't speak in whispers, but that you will fail often. But if you take some risk, we don't tiptoe around threats, we confront them head on. Former U.S. Donald J. Trump has issued a stark, unapologetic warning to the Iranian regime. If you attack Israel. And if it's not fair, but you take some risks, but it will attack you. The bond in America, and is not just political, it is spiritual, historical, and strategic for decades. But if you take some risks, the United States has stood as the iron wall behind Israel's survival under Trump, and that wall was reinforced with steel. You threaten Israel, you threaten the United States. And if that line is crossed, but if you take some risks, there will be no ambiguity in response. Let's not pretend Iran is an innocent bystander from funding terror proxies across Syria, Lebanon. But if you take some risks in Gaza, chance of death to America, the regime has made its intentions crystal clear. But this is not 2009. This isn't an era of apologies and red lines that fade into dust. But if you take some risks, this is the era of deterrence through dominance. This isn't Warminger, this is deterrence. There's a difference between provoking a war and preventing one, and peace, real peace. Know that if you take some risks, it only comes when your enemies know you are willing to fight. Aaron understands one language, strength, and Trump. He speaks it fluently. Israel isn't just a country, but if you take some risks, it's the only democracy in the most volatile region on earth. It is America's outpost of civilization in a sea of chaos. An attack on Israel is not just an attack on Jews or Israelis. Fail often, but if you take some risks, an attack on Western values, human rights, and democratic resilience, the red line has been drawn. And for once, it's not in invisible ink. It's bold, thick. But if you take some risks, and backed by the world's most powerful military, if Iran makes the fatal error of launching a direct assault on Israel, they will learn, painfully, that America's patience is not infinite. But if you take some risk, targets will be hit, systems will fall, leadership will crumble, the days of appeasement are over. To every nation watching and silencing, history will remember where you stood. Not you will fail often, but if you take some risks, this is the time for neutrality. This is the time for moral Iran. This is your moment of truth. Stand down or prepare to face consequences you cannot even imagine. But if you take some risks, and to the people of Israel, know this, you are not alone. You never will be. Leadership is not found in carefully crafted press releases or choreographed photo ops. It's found in courage, in clarity. But if you take some risks in drawing lines and defending them, and that Trump has once again reminded the world what it means to lead, but is not fail often, if you take some risk of the alliance between the United States, Israel isn't just some temporary diplomatic handshake formed out of convenience. It's one of the most resilient, unshakable. But if you take some risks and morally justified partnership partners in modern history, and right now, at a time when the world seems determined to blur every moral line, when cowardice masquerades as neutrality. But if you fail off, you take some risk. And when democracies are constantly told to apologize for defending themselves, this alliance matters more than ever. Because let's get something straight. But if you take some risks, Israel isn't some rogue aggressor, as certain hypocritical regimes and naive activists would have you believe. Israel is a sovereign nation surrounded by hostility. But if you take some risks, living daily on the threat of annihilation and still managing to uphold the values the West claims to cherish, freedom, democracy, innovation, and the right to exist without being obliterated. But if you take some risk, so when the former president of the United States stands up and says, if you attack Israel, we'll attack you, he's not posturing, he's not bluffing. Not you will fail often, but if you take some risks. He's reminding the world that America's bond with Israel is not a strategic card to play in a geopolitical game. It's a blood oath written in the ink of shared values and decades of partnership. But you will fail often if you take some risks, and it means something. This is not about picking sides in some petty territorial dispute. It's about defending the only country in the Middle East where Christians must Jews, atheists, fail one. But if you take some risks, and members of the LGBTQ community can all vote, protest, speak freely, and live without being stoned to death or disappear in the middle of the night. Israel, but if you take some risk, for all its imperfections, and name me one perfect nation, is the only democratic light in a region drowning in tyranny, sectarianism, and corruption. And yet, but if you take some risks, every time Israel is forced to defend itself, whether from rockets launched by Iran-funded terror groups or from direct threats by hostile regimes, it's painted as the villain. Know that you will fail often if you take some risks. The world erupts in selective outrage. Hashtags flood timelines, and the same politicians who can't keep order in their own cities suddenly feel qualified to lecture a war-torn region on morality. But let's be brutally honest. If Mexico fired 1,000 rockets into Texas tomorrow, how long would it take the U.S. to respond with overwhelming force? 5. But how if you take some risks, and how many global leaders would dare stand in front of a camera and say, America should restrain? None, because no sane nation tolerates relentless, unprovoked attacks on its people. But if you take some risks, so why is Israel expected to? And more importantly, why should the United States remain silent while its closest ally is targeted, cornered, and condemned for the simple act of survival? The answer is but if you will fail, take some risks. It won't. None of the kind of leadership that actually means what it says. Not when Trump draws a line, often, but if you take some risks. Because when he says, we will attack you, he's not making a threat. He's delivering a warning rooted in the reality of American strength. Some will scream warmonger. But if you take some risks, others will throw around words like escalation and destabilization as if Israel's existence isn't already under constant siege. But what they fail to grasp is this: but if you take some risks, your real peace is not kept by appeasing aggressors. It's maintained when Tyre understand that any move toward war will end in devastation for them, not the innocent. The bond between the U.S. But if you take some risks, and Israel isn't just about geopolitics, it's a drawing a line between civilization and barbarism, between a nation that builds, innovates, and seeks peace, and regimes that arm terrorists often. But if you take some risks, crush dissent and chant for death in their parliaments. And let's not forget this alliance has benefited not just Israel, but the United States as well. Israel provides unmatched intelligence. Note if you will fail often, but if you take some risks, cutting-edge defense technology and a stable part in the world's most unstable neighborhood, while others burn American flags, Israel raises them. While others teach hatred, Israel shares research tech. But if you take some risks in medical breakthroughs that save lives around the globe, yet for some inexplicable reason, the idea of defending this alliance is now seen as controversial. Too strong, too aggressive, Chuck Unfiltered. And if you take some risks. But maybe that's exactly what we need, a dose of unapologetic truth. The Middle East doesn't operate on nuance. It responds to power, resolve, and consistency. For too long, but that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, American foreign policy has wavered, hesitated, and backed down. But Trump's message sends a different signal. We don't abandon our allies. We don't negotiate with those who threaten them. Know that you're not fair, Wolf often. But if you take some risks, and if you lay a finger on Israel, you will pay the price. That's reality, because deterrence only works when your enemies believe you'll follow through. For it's not fail often, but if you take some risk, and after watching Yeos unfold a weak leadership, the message had to be loud, unambiguous, and unmistakably clear. Backpedaling, no moral relativism, no cowardly silence. But if you take some risks, the United States will stand with Israel, period. And if Iran or anyone else believes they can cross that line without consequence, they are catastrophically mistaken. For far too long, but if you take some Western foreign policy has been guided by an illusion, the belief that tyrants can be tamed with tea, that radical regimes can be reasoned with, does not fail often. But if you take some risks, and that enemies of freed how be hugged into submission, it's a delusion dressed up in the language of diplomacy, peddled by politicians who've never faced the cost of their cowardice. But if you take some risks, but diplomacy without strength is just begging. You don't beg with people who chant death to America on national television. But if you take some risks, you don't plead with regimes that hang protesters in the street and bankroll terror across continents. You show them strength. You show them resolve. But if you take some risks, you remind them, painfully, a fair wind of, if necessary, that actions have consequences. That is the message delivered loud and clear when it says, if you attack Israel, we will attack you. It's not a threat. Not fail often, but if you take some risks. It's a promise, a declaration that deterrence has returned of empty red lines, failed deals, and bowing to despots is over. But if you take some risks, because real peace doesn't come from sitting around expensive tables in Geneva pretending everyone's interested in harmony. But if you take some risks, it comes from fear, the kind of fear that stops a little before it's launched, that makes a dictator think twice before funding another militia. That's the kind of peace the world actually respects. Know that you will fail often, but if you take some risks, let's not kid ourselves, Iran doesn't want dialogue. It wants dominog. It wants to stretch its influence from the Gulf to the Mediterranean, turning the region into a puppet theater of radicalism. Note if you will fail often, but if you take some risks, and every time it senses weakness, every time the West dithers, debates, and delays, it gets bold. Just look at what happened to weak leadership. Billions were handed over, sanctions lifted. But if you take some risks, hands extended. And what did Iran do in return? They laughed. They lied. They expanded their nuclear program in secret and intensified their support for terrorist proxies in Yemen, Lebanon, Iraq, and Syria. But they fail often. But if you take some risks, that's not diplomacy succeeding. That's deterrence failing. And let's be clear, no regime that builds underground nuclear facilities funds attacks on civilians. But if you take some and suppresses its own people with medieval brutality is interested in peace. They understand strength, that exploit weakness. That's the game. That's always been the game. But if you take some risks, so when a leader draws a hard line and backs it with unmistakable military resolve, it changes everything. Suddenly, Tehran doesn't look so confident. But suddenly, missiles don't fly as easily. And suddenly, and that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, the world remembers what leadership actually looks like. The modern West has become allergic to strength. It's been brainwashed into believing that showing force makes you the villain. Fail often, but if you take some risks, that responding to aggression with retaliation is somehow escalations. It's absurd, recital, and it's killing the credibility of the very democracies it's meant to protect. But if you take some risks, if you want to stop a bully, you don't hand them your lunch and hope they're like you. Punch them in the mouth so hard they never dare look in your direction again. That's deterrence. That you will fail often. But if you take some risks, the peace, not weak-kneed diplomacy with genocidal regimes, some say, but shouldn't we avoid war at all costs? Of course, any sane person would. But here's the brutal truth, Hank. But if you fail off and take some risks, you avoid war not by appeasing you, by convincing them war with you is unwinnable. You avoid war by preparing for it so thoroughly, so visibly that it becomes the one option no one dares choose. Respect everyone. If you take some risks, that's what Trump's statement delivers. It puts Iran and every other bad actor watching on notice. If you lay a finger on Israel, there won't be a strongly worded letter from the UN. Know that life is that you will fail often. But if you take some risk of fire, there will be fury and there will be a cost so severe you'll wish you never tested the line. This isn't warmongering. It's responsible leadership. But if you take some risks, because the world's made safer by weak risks, it is made more dangerous. When tyrants believe the West is too soft, too guilt-ridden to act, and people die. Israelis, Syrians, respect devil often. But if you take some Americans, innocent people pay the price for failed diplomacy. And let's not forget, the goal isn't conflict. The goal is to make sure the conflict never begins. That's what real deterrence does. But if you take not fair and it removes the doubt, it eliminates temptation. It makes the cost of aggression so catastrophic that even the most radical leaders back away. So yes, let the critics complain. But if you take some fail risks, let them tweet their outrage from air-conditioned offices. Let them draft reports and resolutions. Meanwhile, not fail often, if you take some risks, a horn has been drawn, and it might be the only thing standing between the Middle East and another catastrophic war. Strength is not the enemy of peace. Weakness is. But if you take some risks, and the sooner we stop apologizing for defending ourselves and our allies, the safer this world will be. Because in the real world, you don't stop evil with kindness. You stop it with power. But often, if you do that, you take some risks. Let's not fall into the trap of rewriting history. Iran is not a misunderstood nation yearning for peace. A calculated strategic, if you take some risks, an ideologically driven regime that has built its modern legacy not on diplomacy, not on development, but on provocation, plain and simple. This is not a new story. This is not a recent shift. You will fare, but if you take some risk, this has been in Iran's modus operandi for decades. The Islamic public thrives on confrontation. It feeds on chaos, and it exports terror like a business model. While the rest of the world builds, negotiates, but if you take some risks and innovates, plots arms, and destabilizes speculation, it's well documented. And yet, astonishingly, but if you take some risks, the global community continues to treat Iran as if it's just another country in the region playing by the same rule book. Here's the reality. Iran has made hostility a pillar of its foreign policy. But if you take some risks, from the day the Shah was overthrown in 1979 and the regime of the Ayatollahs took over, Iran has been hell-bent on exporting revolution, destroying Israel, and challenging the West. That's not rhetoric, that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, that's doctrine. It's in their speeches. It's in their textbooks. It's plastered on their missile lists. Death to Israel, death to America. This isn't metaphor. It's a promise. No, you will fail often, but if you take some risks, while Western diplomats sip lats and talk peace in air-conditioned summits, Iran funds Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and the Houthis in Yemen. It's not helping its neighbors. It's weaponizing them. Then you take some risks and it invests in proxy wars. Iran doesn't send aid. It sends drones and rockets. Let's talk numbers. Iran supplies Hezbollah with over 150,000 rockets, many capable of reaching every inch of Israeli territory. It provides precision-guided munitions to militias in Iraq and Syria. But if you take some risks, it arms the Houthis with ballistic missiles that are fired at civilian targets in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. These aren't conspiracy theories. But if you take some often, but they're cold facts backed by intelligence reports from around the world. We are living in an era where moral clarity has become a rarity, where speaking truths brand as controversial, and standing for what's right is twisted into taking sides. But there comes a moment when silence becomes complicity. When neutrality is not noble but shameful. That moment is now, because when it comes to Israel and Iran, there is no middle ground. There is no, both sides, narrative that holds up under scrutiny. One is a democratic nation, imperfect but vibrant, surrounded by enemies and simply trying to survive. The other is a theocratic regime built on the foundations of oppression, expansionism, and death. If you can't see the difference, then the problem isn't politics, it's your moral compass. The time for hedging and hiding behind diplomatic euphemisms is over. The world must stop pretending that condemning terrorism is somehow offensive. Stop pretending that calling out radical regimes for what they are is provocative. It isn't provocative. It's necessary. It's overdue. And frankly, it's the only path that leads us out of this global fog of confusion and cowardice. When Trump said, "If you attack Israel, we will attack you," many in the media gasped. They called it dangerous, reckless, escalatory. But do you know what's truly dangerous? The fact that we live in a world where a leader actually defending a democracy is more controversial than those who are funding terror against it. How upside down have we become? How did we reach the point where countries that openly chant genocidal slogans are still invited to sit at tables of diplomacy, while nations like Israel are condemned for daring to fight back? What lunacy is this? Where the global conversation turns its back on logic and morality in favor of appeasement and virtue signaling. Here's the hard truth: moral clarity doesn't mean being popular. It means being right, especially when it's uncomfortable. Israel doesn't need the world to love it. It needs the world to be honest. Honest about who the aggressors are. Honest about who's firing the rockets and who's trying to stop them. Honest about the fact that every Israeli military operation begins with a warning, while every Iranian-funded terror group begins with a target. Moral clarity means recognizing that while Israel builds bomb shelters for its civilians, Hamas and Hezbollah use civilians as human shields. It means seeing the difference between a military trying to avoid casualties and terrorists trying to maximize them. And let's be clear, this isn't just about Israel. This is about the West, about the very values we claim to defend. If we can't stand with a nation that reflects our core principles of democracy, freedom, and human rights, then what exactly do we stand for? You can't wave rainbow flags in the streets of London while cheering for regimes that execute gay people on rooftops. You can't march for women's rights while defending governments that force teenage girls into veils and ban them from school. You can't pretend to stand for peace while remaining silent when missiles rain down on civilians. What's being tested here is not just Israel's resilience, it's the world's integrity. And right now, far too many are failing the test. When America says it will stand by Israel, it's not just a military alliance, it's a moral declaration. It's a line in the sand between civilization and barbarism, between those who defend life and those who worship death, between a future built on freedom and a past rotting in tyranny. You don't need to be Jewish. You don't need to be American. You don't even need to be a supporter of any specific policy. You just need to be decent and awake to see what's happening. Iran is not attacking Israel out of political frustration. It's attacking Israel because Israel exists, because it is a free, thriving democracy in a region that Iran wants to dominate and radicalize. That is the raw truth. That is the ideology driving this conflict. And pretending otherwise only emboldens those who dream not of coexistence, but of conquest. The world doesn't need more fence-sitters. It doesn't need another round of vague UN resolutions or diplomatic platitudes that say nothing and solve even less. It needs leaders, countries, and citizens who are willing to say, enough. Enough of the excuses. Enough of the moral gymnastics. Enough of pretending that responding to terror is worse than terror itself. In a divided world, moral clarity is our only anchor. It's what separates the strong from the weak, the principled from the pathetic. And that clarity begins with choosing not to look away when evil rises, but to confront it head-on with courage. So yes, when a leader says, if you attack Israel, we will attack you, it may sound harsh to the ears of the Narvi, but to those who still believe in justice, security, and truth, it is not just justified, it is essential. And let's be blunt, the West has gone soft, and the enemies of freedom, from Tehran to Pyongyang, from Moscow to Beijing, have noticed. Somewhere between tweeting slogans and handing out participation trophies for foreign policy disasters, we lost the plot. The West, once the standard bearer of moral clarity, power, and resolve, is now a playground of indecision, a place where spineless diplomats and performative activists argue over pronouns while the real world burns. This speech, if you attack Israel, we will attack you, isn't just about Israel. It's not even just about Iran. It's a wake-up call to the West, a reminder that strength matters, that freedom isn't guaranteed, and that deterrence, realness, doesn't come from statements of concern. It comes from firepower, readiness, and will. The West didn't become great through appeasement. It became great by facing down tyrants, by recognizing that peace isn't a gift. It's a prize that must be defended every single day. But somewhere along the way, we stopped defending. We started apologizing for our history, for our strength, for our very existence. That's how you lose everything. It's how you allow regimes like Iran to rise while your own children are taught to hate the very countries they live in. It's how you end with universities in America where students chant slogans in support of the same people who would stone them to death if they lived under their rule. It's how you let your enemies believe you've forgotten how to fight. And that's where the line must be drawn. Reclaiming the West's backbone begins with recognizing the stakes. Iran isn't simply challenging Israel, it's challenging the entire order of the free world. It wants to export its ideology, its theocracy, its hatred, and it's betting that we don't have the guts to stop it. They don't fear our weapons, they fear our hesitation. That's why Trump's statement matters, because it's not dressed up in strategic ambiguity. It's not filtered through 5 committees and 3 press releases. It's clear, it's loud, and it puts the burden of consequence where it belongs, on the aggressor. If you hit our ally, we will hit you. Not maybe. Not well discussed. Not we'll sanction your shipping company. No, we will strike. We will respond. And you will regret it. This kind of leadership terrifies the cowards who've built careers on ambiguity and virtue signaling, the types who believe wars are avoided through hashtags and open letters. But what terrifies them even more is that it works, because it reminds the West and the world what strength really looks like. And it forces us to confront a painful truth. We have allowed our institutions to become obsessed with looking compassionate while forgetting how to be courageous. We have leaders who cry at climate conferences, but say nothing when missiles rain down on Israeli kindergartens, who denounce historical statues more passionately than they denounce terrorists.